I'm Jen, and I'm the manager of the training department, and this is my little dog Charlie, and he's a Papillon. Show him your face. Turn around. There it is. So I'm going to run through the warm-up that I like to use at the beginning of each training session. So it's 4 steps. The first step is going to be a little game of Find It. So Find It is a sentence search activity that we use to positively emotionally condition an animal to a handler or a working area. So creating some positive emotional associations with being in that space or being with that person. We can also use Find It to prevent or manage leash reactivity. So if you're out walking your dog and you see another dog coming down the path and your dog starts getting a little amped up on leash, you can step off to the side of the path, play a little Find It, kind of refocus them and get them working with you again. So all I'm going to do, a really simple exercise, I'm just going to walk around this space a little bit and toss a treat out or a piece of kibble and then ask Charlie to find it and let him kind of sniff it out and eat the piece of kibble. Find it. Good job. So I usually like to play just maybe 10 to 30 seconds of Find It with a dog, especially if I'm in a new space. Find it. Good boy. So sniffing is really calming for dogs. So it's a nice way to kind of get them into a training session. If they've got to sniff out these little pieces of food and eat them while we're starting to work, it kind of gets them off on the right foot. Find it. So just a couple more seconds of this. Find it. Good. Okay, so Charlie's nice and warmed up. He's taking food, which means that he's comfortable enough to work with me. He has probably formed a couple positive emotional associations with working in this space just by playing that little game. So now I'm going to move on to the next step of my warm-up, and that is booting up or charging up my marker. So what I'm going to use as a marker for behavior, and I'll explain what that means, is a clicker. So you can also use a verbal marker or sound, but it's a way to tell the animal which behavior is earning reinforcement. So I'm going to use this during the behavior that I like to mark that behavior and then reinforce it, which makes it more likely to occur again. But before I can use this as a marker, I need to give it some meaning and some value for the animal. So I have to pair it with something that they find reinforcing. So that's a classical conditioning procedure, pairing a sound with a food reward, something like that. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to just get a couple in my hand, and I'm just going to click, treat. So he doesn't need to be doing anything in particular. All I'm doing right now is just pairing that sound with the reward. So I'm giving this sound some value for him. So I like to do about 5 to 10 of these at the beginning of any training session. So this is just telling the dog, when you hear this sound, that means a reinforcer is coming to you. So we're giving this marker some meaning and value for the animal. So after I've charged up my marker and I can actually use it to successfully mark and reinforce behavior, now I'm going to move on to the third step of my warm-up. So that's called attention work. So with this, I'm going to be reinforcing and rewarding any attention that Charlie is offering me without being asked, so eye contact. So I'm going to move around with Charlie a little bit. I'm going to let him get distracted. I might toss a treat off to kind of reset him. And then as soon as he turns around and offers me some eye contact, I'm going to mark and reinforce that. So at this stage in the warm-up, I usually ask clients to get at least 10 to 15 really good check-ins here from their dog. So that's what I'm going to be looking for Charlie today. Whoop, that was a bad click. So I'm glad you saw that actually, because that was a bad click on my part. He wasn't actually looking at me and I clicked a little bit too soon. But even if you misclick or you do a bad click, you still need to follow it up with a reinforcer so you don't lose the value of the click. And you're gonna bad click, it happens all the time. There it is. So I'm watching for that exact moment where he actually makes some eye contact with me. Good. So if he's looking at my pouch or my hand, I'll wait him out until he actually looks up at my face. Good. So what this does is really reinforces the animal for checking in with you every now and then and giving some attention and focus to you, even when you're not asking for it. So this is a really nice foundation skill for when you're out doing some loose leash walking. You don't want your dog just out in front of you the whole time. You want them turning around every now and then and checking in with you. Good boy. Good. So I feel like I've gotten enough check-ins from Charlie at this point that I'm going to move on. So the final step of this warm-up, and this whole warm-up should really only take about 5 minutes or so. You can just kind of cruise through it once you've got all the steps down. But the fourth step then is doing some name recognition work. So I'm going to say Charlie's name one time. I'm going to wait for that head turn or eye contact back toward me, and I'm going to mark and reward that. So the reason why we do this in the warm-up, some people say, oh, my dog knows his name, this part's silly, but a dog's response to their name is such an important foundation skill. So we want it to be quick and consistent even when it's in distracting situations. A common issue that I run into often with people using their dog's names is they tend to re-cue too soon, so they might say Charlie, 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 and so then Charlie learns, he's staring at me, Charlie learns that he doesn't actually have to respond until the third time I say his name or the fourth time. So resist your urge to re-cue too soon. Let the dog kind of process it for a second. Sometimes it just takes them a second to think about it. Another thing that I run into with people using their dog's names sort of incorrectly is they will yell the dog's name when the dog is in trouble. They try to use it as a recall cue to get the dog to come to them. A dog's name should really only be one thing, and that's an attention getter that you can use to then ask for other behavior. So if I wanted Charlie to come, I would say, Charlie, come. If I wanted Charlie to sit, Charlie, sit. So get their attention first and then ask for the behavior that you want. Good, sit. So I'm going to do this about 5 times with Charlie. I'm going to wait until he's a little bit distracted, or I might toss a treat off to reset him, and then I'll say his name one time and wait for his response back to me, and then mark and reinforce that. So anytime we mark and reinforce the behavior, we're making it more likely to occur again. He's really staring at me, so I'm gonna just toss something off here, let him get a little distracted. Charlie, good. Charlie, good. Charlie, yes. So you can see that head turn gets really quick. Oh. Charlie, yes. Where'd it go? Charlie. Good. So that one took a little bit longer, but I didn't re-cue. I waited him out because I knew that he could hear me. He was just busy sniffing there. So I waited a second or two, he processed that, and then he turned back to me and I marked and rewarded that. Good boy. So that little 4-part warm-up is something that you can do before any training session. So if you're doing a little recall session or loose leash walking, anything at all. So it just gets the dog starting to work, and it builds a nice foundation of focus and attention. So it's really important that you have that foundation of focus and attention before you try to train any new behaviors, because the dog has to be paying attention to you and working with you before you can get anything new from them. So that's something that's fun to just kind of build into your daily routine. It's only a 5-minute little thing, so throwing it in every now and then so you can start building some better foundation skills for your dog.